dog sight. Tell me been in that living room all white. I'm up all night, season ends while niggas sleeping. Lost so many guys, guess why I'm breathing. We keep it strong as the name live on, like if they was never gone. Mind blown, and neither might ever seen.
Welcome back to the Grid Culture. Please like, share, subscribe. Let's build this channel up. So, since when do we get tired of this? Seeing this over and over again. We understand, dying, transitioning. It's just a part of the process. It's what we'll all have to go through one day. It happens, but like this, man, these brothers are too young. I don't care what y'all try to say, what they try to paint in today's, hip-hop is, being in the 30s and 40s, that's you old and washed up or whatever ton of terms they want to put toward it. It's too young. It's too damn young. It's supposed to have a long, fruitful life, to the best of your abilities. And, if anything, let it be health. Let it just be that your body gave out. But you being taken out against your will by somebody, however reason it may be. And I don't know what led to these brothers, losing their lives in the manner that they did. Got Gonzoe, who was 45, from the group, back in the day, Caution, was affiliated with Tupac, Ice Cube, and everything. And we've been seeing Gonzoe, he made a presence for himself on social media over the years. Now, he's got a lot of game to give, He had a lot of game to give, and, he said some real shit. What he was mainly what I knew him from on social media was, his back and forth with Bosco 100. And what I respected about, and how their whole thing played out, it wasn't too serious, to begin with. It was just, talking shit on the internet. But they were able to resolve their issues, had a boxing match, which was hilarious. But they had a boxing match, and they were able to resolve their issues, and they became, extremely cordial. And they wanted it to make it a point. They wanted to make it a point and, show that to the youth. We can resolve these things, fight it out, however it may be. But, we can bring it together and be friends at the end of the day. And, like I said, he had some very, great messages. If you paid attention to, some of his stuff he had on social media, he always, just a real upbeat guy. Just a real upbeat guy. I don't know what it was, some reports, maybe a female set him up or whatever it may be. But it's just, 45 years old, man. That's just way too young, man. It's way too young. And like I said, nobody should be perishing, just on the streets, to some, going out to some gunshots, man. That's just a terrible way to die. So you had that, then you got, I think about a couple days later now, just happened the report dropped last night, the Edai was 600. He was shot and killed. Now I hadn't seen this guy in, years now. No, matter of fact, no, I did see, I saw that he was going under the moniker Fat Pluto. But other than that, I hadn't seen him. He hadn't really been in the headlines. He had kind of, went off, sort of obscurity. He's trying to rebuild himself, trying to shed, the whole, everything that was going on, with the whole Chicago beef and 600 and, I could be wrong. I don't know what he's been doing recently, but that's just how it looked to me. But yeah, that was just surprising to see him. He was one of the originators. He was one of the first guys who was at the front of the drill scene, just like, you know, the FBG Ducks, and, you know, I think they had a direct beef with each other. So, you know, it's just crazy to see, you know, after all these years, and, you know, finally, and I don't know if it was related to that. I do know that, you know, that whole war between those different factions and those gangs in Chicago, that shit never ends, man. It never ends. You know, it's part of the reason, you know, I talk about, you know, I talk about a lot of the things that I do on this channel, you know, to at least try to, you know, knowledge of different things and understanding, you know, how to operate with each other and things that are just acceptable and why things are the way they are. You know, knowledge of those different things will sometimes remedy, you know, just this sense of entitlement that we see on a daily basis. You know, you thinking that you can just rob a person of their life because, you know, for any reason, you know, outside of, you know, protecting yourself, but you just thinking you could just take a person's life because, you know, you got your reasons. That's a sense of entitlement. That comes from a sense of entitlement, thinking that you know, or you just, you know, you just don't give a fuck. You don't give a fuck about life. Don't give a fuck about life at all. Quality of life. But, you know, that shit comes back around. But, you know, it's a whole cycle. And it never ends. It never ends. No matter what the reason, and it can start from somewhere, and you can have your reason for going out and getting back at somebody, but, you know, you're affecting these people are, you know, fathers, brothers, cousins. They're loved by somebody. And doing that in turn, it causes a cycle, because now it causes a tree of just sorrow. Because now you're affecting them, and you never know how, you know, what they may start doing in life, you know, and you mentally traumatize them, and now you're affecting their kids. It just continues a cycle that never ends. Somebody has to put an end to this shit. And we got to deal with, you know, we got to deal with conflict resolution. We have to put an emphasis on teaching our young brothers out here conflict resolution. Not just the brothers, but the sisters too. Men and women. It's just certain things that we do that feed into, you know, a lot of the just terrible shit that we see on a daily basis. And we think we're exempt from it. We think we have nothing to do with it, when, you know, in fact, we're contributing to it. All of us. So we got to figure that out. Stop, you know, it shouldn't even get to a point to where it comes to fighting. You know, stop the fighting in general. You know, only time you should be fighting is if, you know, you're in a competitive arena, or if you're defending yourself. You know, from, you know, people, because there's always going to be evil around, so you got to defend yourself and fight, shoot, whatever you got to do to protect yourself and protect your family. I'll wait till this damn alarm goes on. Shit. Let me just put my seatbelt on. Fuck. But yeah, man, just it's just bad out here. It's bad. We lost that whole, you know, and that's a part. The drill culture is a part of the hip hop culture. You know, whether you like it or not, it had a extremely lasting effect. You know, it was extremely damaging to a lot of the young minds, you know, around the country. A lot of people started mimicking that in different cities. You know, stuff was already been bad, but it just multiplied the problems. Now, it also produced a lot of, you know, real music too. You know, it was real to the environment. And, you know, it produced some great sounds, man. Great music also. I was a huge fan of, some of the stuff they were making. Not too much of, shit where they're dissing dead homies and different things like that. But, I like the sound that they had. Chicago had an extremely unique sound, especially at the start of that, when it first came out, within that 2012, 2011 to 2015. I'm just estimating. But around that time frame, it was just amazing. It was amazing. Had a very nostalgic sound to it. So, but we've just seen so many guys, fall victim to this. Just everybody. So many people falling victim or, been scarred by this game. I mean, just take a list. There's plenty of lists of, people who've lost their lives who, gained some form of notoriety during the whole drill scene. And, they're gone now. And they became public figures. This is more gang violence. They were gangsters who were rappers, but they gained notoriety through rap. And so they became, people loved their music and they became public figures. And then, we're watching them drop one by one. This is the reality of everything. This is the reality, Edai 600, he's only 32 years old. They looked at him, like he's the OG in the game. He's still young, man. Same age as me. Got to figure it out. We got to figure it out because there's a lot of shit, just happening in the world around us that has to be fought and has to be dealt with. And, if we can't get past these things, then how are we going to be able to fight those? How are we going to be able to even take time to, understand that when we're trying to, we can't even get the conflict that's going on in our own personal communities. We can't even get that out the way. And a lot of it could be nipped in the bud if we just do our part and actually think before we make an action. Just one thing about it is, understanding education. It's not just kids, it's the adults. Understanding the code of conduct, knowing how to engage, the rules of engagement when dealing with each other, understanding why different things are in place. Has to be an understanding. We can't just say, it's like telling your child, tell them don't do something, and they ask you why, and you say, because I said so. It doesn't teach the child a damn thing. And that just goes, a lot of these people that you see running around, man, they're just grown-ass children. And they're just causing wreck to everything around them. Like I said, I don't know. I don't know what, these two men were into. I don't know if they did anything that could have facilitated, them losing their lives. But, I don't know much about Edai outside of, his music. And, him with Team 600, him being around, with L.A. Capone, who lost his life and everything. I don't know too much about him outside of that. I do know, I do know that the image Gonzoe put out there, man, he just seemed like a real cool brother. A real cool brother, man. A real dude. Like I said, I don't know any of these guys, but it's just the reality. So let me know what you think in the comment section. If you got any more information on this, or you got any, like I said, we got any solutions. Also, not just solutions, but let's identify problems. Can't come with a solution until you identify the problem yet. You got to be able to diagnose before you even get to that. So let me know in the comment section, man, and I'm gonna get up with y'all later.